Live.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
Well, I don't know what this thing is. I think it's a strip show, dance show.
Work there, dude.
Welcome to
DeaconLive.
DeaconLive.
Live.
Well,
Welcome back, guys. On today's show, what state passed a new law to pay underage influencers? And also, who owns the new title of the Beat People? And how a dog drove over a child? And why did this house blew up in this neighborhood? All this and much, much more will be discussed here on Deacon Live. How are you? How are things? How are things going? Are you doing okay? Are you getting along with everyone? We're going to talk about all this and much, much more here on the Deacon Live show. So I know, before I even get started, I know you're all looking at your radios, you're all looking at your headphones, you're all looking at your phones and saying, you know, what gives, man? What happened last week? Well, let me tell you what happened last week. So as you guys might or might not know, I do several other different podcasts. So I do a podcast on Monday, I do this one on Wednesday, I do another one on Friday, and in between I have to maintain the property that we have here that we broadcast out of. Now, we broadcast just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, in a town called Marshville, and we have 22 some odd acres. So there's a lot of maintenance and stuff that needs to be done here on the property. So between my wife and I, Tuesday and Wednesdays are my quote unquote days off from doing the podcasting show. So I make sure, you know, I'm mending fences and moving stuff around and fixing this and doing this and mowing this and cutting this. And the weekend I spend with my wife, and we, you know, spend time together because I don't get to see her during the week. Her job's just as busy as mine. And so when one of the shows that I do can't do a show on a certain day, I've got to double up on another day. Basically what I'm saying was, I got in too deep last week and I ended up doing 5 shows, not including my show, which is this show here. And it just doubled up. And by the time I got to my show on Wednesday, I was I was beat. I was done. I was done talking. I was done. I know there's people out there that in the radio world, believe me, I was one of those people in the radio world where you could do it Monday through Friday. They talk for 4 hours. I did that for many years. But when I was done, I was done. I didn't have to go back and edit, and I didn't have to go back and add commercials. I had people when I was doing that at the time that would do that for me. But now I'm a one-man show, so I'm doing it all now. I know, what was me, right? What was me? But anyway, so I got doubled up last week, so I just took this show right here, and I said, you know what, let me take a break on this show for a week. You guys will be fine. You guys will be okay. Believe me, I know. And if you're not okay, you can let me know and let me know your thoughts on what's on your mind. And the way you do that is to be part of the podcast. And the way you do that is go to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. At the bottom of the page says Be Heard. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what's on your mind. Just opens up a microphone. You can be anonymous if you want. Talk right into it. Comes right into our inbox, and we'll play it on this podcast if you get it in soon enough, or the next podcast as well. Now, as you guys know, my dad has been living here for coming up on 1.5 years, almost 2 years now. And he's doing his thing. He's got his own ritual stuff as far as what he does. He goes out and lets the chickens out in the morning. He likes doing that. I don't know if I told you that he fell a few weeks back. Well, we had a fox problem here, and the fox was country talk again, was getting at our chickens. So now we've got the chickens completely secluded and stuff. My dad said, let's buy a couple of those live traps. You step on the plate, the trap door shuts, you've got the animal in the cage. And so we bought a couple and we placed them all over the property. And he's like, what do we bait them with? And the guy at the store said, bait them with honey buns. So I purchased a box of honey buns. We did that for about a week. We caught a possum. I let the possums go. Caught a couple cats. I take those feral cats and I right down the road because I don't need those cats running around here spreading diseases and getting our cats pregnant and stuff. I know we spay and neuter, just like Bob Barker says. But that lasted for about 2 weeks. My dad said to me the other day, he's like, so are you baiting the traps? And I said, no, Dad. I said, you bought these traps and stuff. I said, can you bait the traps or do what, that's your job, basically. These are your traps. You bait the traps and that's your job. Well, what do I bait them with? I said, honey buns are getting too expensive. I said, I got cat food in there. Cat food works just as good. So we've got barn cats, our barn cats that chase the mice away. They're all tame and everything, but there are feral cats that come around. So we keep a big 5-gallon bucket of cat food down there. I'm like, just take a little, cup, not a Dixie cup, just a regular 32-ounce cup, that we have, or a scoop or whatever, and go around to the traps. And each trap has a little metal tin bowl or can inside, so you can put food in there and put it out there for the animal or whatever you're trying to trap. So I showed my dad several times how to set the traps. When you set the traps, you open up the door, and there's a little hook that kind of catches the door so it doesn't drop down. And the way that hook releases is that there's a pressure plate on the inside of the trap that the animal steps on, closing the trap door behind the animal. All right? We all know how live traps work now, right? The traps that we have a safety mechanism where there's a hook that you can put on the door as it opens. So when you stick your hand in there to put the food, it doesn't come down on your hand. So it's a safety thing. So I showed my dad how to set up all the traps and everything. And I'm like, all right, Dad, you're on your own. Just don't fall over in the woods. Because it is technically woods. That's all we got on one side of the property. On the 2 acres on one side, it's all woods, like undeveloped. There's no like walk path or anything. So he's out there. He's got the side-by-side. And he's setting the traps. And comes back in the house. We wake up in the morning. And he's like, I got all the traps set. I'm like, all right, it's your job to make sure that, you let the animals out or get rid of the animals, whatever's in there. So I go out to feed today. I tell you that to tell you this. So I go out there, and we've got little pink flags, little marker flags where the traps are so you can see them. And I kind of look out in the wooded area there, and I see the flags, and I go, well, I don't need, our barn cats trapped in these things. My dad's supposed to be checking on them, make sure that there's no animals in there. So I'm like, I'm not going to step on his toes. I'll just assume that he checked them. And then I was like, it's eating me up inside. Let me go check. Make sure there's no animals in there. So I walk out there, and I'm walking around. I got my morning coffee, and I come up to the first trap. Oh, the tin can is completely out of the trap, and it's sitting off to the side empty. And the trap isn't triggered. I said, okay. Didn't think anything of it. Went to the next one. Same exact scenario. Trap is still wide open. Bowl outside of the trap. All right, go to the next one. Bowl outside of the trap. Empty. Trap is not triggered. I'm like, all right. How did they get these bowls out of these traps? So then I go and look. And sure enough, every single trap had that safety hook still on it to where the thing did not release to, for when you're loading the trap. Every single one of them had the safety trap or the safety mechanism still engaged. And I go, all right, well, I'm glad I went out here and checked. So, I mean, he's trying. Thank God he didn't fucking fall over. That's the only thing I worry about. Maybe I should take him off trap duty. Maybe I should go set the traps, and he can drive around to see if there's anyone in the trap. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll switch up the routine, and hopefully he can we can get some whatever the fox is that's out there. I know. Riveting stuff to talk about here. I took a week off. I got not a whole lot going on. Well, I mean, there's a lot going on. I just wish it was, a little bit more informative to you. But the reason why you listen to the show is because we are very informative, and we're going to talk about the past week of topics and news stories that you might have missed during your social pages and your social networks and stuff. So stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Oh, God, was that fucking boring. I've been waiting. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks. And the way you do that is go to Prophet Radio, proud sponsors of Deacon Live. That's Prophet Radio. At the bottom of the page says, be heard. We'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear what's on your mind. If you can ask us anything you want. Just tell us what you're thinking. You can also bitch me out, too, if you want, for not doing the show last week. So I apologize for that. I go ahead and apologize. So I don't need to apologize to every single one of you. I'm doing a blanket apology across the board for not doing last week's show. I apologize. So there you go. I've been busy. You've been busy, too. Don't give me any shit. And a lot of you parents out there and people out there in general have been busy as well with all the kids going back to school. Getting little Timmy and little Jenny all dressed up and first day of school pictures, and everyone's getting, standing in front of the front door with the sign that tells who they are, where they live, what school they go to, where their teacher is. I've seen so many different news articles about the police department says, don't do that. You give predators and people that want to kidnap your kids basically a license to go attack and abduct your kids. I don't know if that's true or not. It's kind of like the razor blade in the Halloween candy. It's one of those myths and stuff. But yes, I mean, it probably has some value to it. I just say, you know what? It's great. Hey, 7th grade, great. 4th grade, whatever. Just don't spell it out for them, what school they go to and the teacher and all that stuff. Do that on your own time. Do it at home when you put the pictures in the album. Say, this is little Timmy in his 4th grade, first day of class and all that. I never remember doing that as a kid. But this school right now there's a new school out there right now that's called micro-schooling. Now, if you're not familiar with micro-schooling, it's a total different aspect and a new approach to teaching kids just in general. By Nevada law, the Life Skills Academy can't call itself a school, but education is its only mission, albeit in an atypical format. In the back room of a Jewish temple, kids are running the show. The Montessori-inspired microschool, which rents space at a Jewish temple, served 13 children from the ages of 5 to 5th grade during its inaugural 2023 academy year. But don't call them students. They are called learners who chart their own educational journey through critical thinking and project-based learning. They even make up classroom rules. Two teachers, known as learning guides, take a supporting role in the background. We're building a civilized or a civil society from scratch. They, over the course of that first 6 weeks, make the rules, and they have to live by those rules. Most passerbys won't even notice this place exists, but in some ways that's symbolic of the entire micro-schooling movement. Tiny learning environments reminiscent of one classroom schoolhouses, back in the early days of the settlement of the United States, I guess, are sprouting in churches, temples, commercial spaces, and even houses across the United States. They're in bustling cities, rural communities, and suburban enclaves. Often they are created by parents or teachers who wanted something for the children or students that couldn't be readily found in traditional school. But it was a pandemic that thrust this model into the limelight. As families scrambled to make the remote learning work, so-called learning pods came into vogue, and kid clustered around kitchen tables, working elbow to elbow with neighbors and pals and relatives and family and friends. The city of North Las Vegas even temporarily ran its own micro-schooling in recreational centers during this pandemic. So someone saw the approach. So if you're familiar with micro-schooling, I guess it's run by the kids. All right, guys, what are we going to learn today? Let's learn about dinosaurs. All right, let's do that. So they all do the dinosaur learning things and so on and so forth. So if your kid needs a little bit more on there, maybe you can find these underground micro-schooling. It's kind of like Prohibition, speakeasies. If you can find these speakeasy micro-schooling, knock on the door and say the magic password, which is, Barney was right or something like that. So there you go. Micro-schooling. Now, all you parents out there that, like I said, was taking pictures of your kids before school, first day of school. during the pandemic, a lot of you were videotaping and chronologically just videotaping your kids doing, you're documenting the whole pandemic thing through your kids and putting up on social media. And of course that gets likes and all this other stuff. And then I don't want to say you're monetizing that, but sometimes these kids get a little famous and the mom and dad and the parents, reap the money. The kids can't have the money. It's the parents that are doing it. So during the coronavirus pandemic, Sharia, now 16, said, like so many others, she began to spend more time on social media when she saw countless parents who documented their own lives of their kids on different platforms. She says, the more I fell down the rabbit hole, I kept seeing cases of exploration, Sharia said. High school junior from Normal, Illinois, told Good Morning America, added that she specifically was struck by seeing kids who she thought were not old enough to know the full ramifications of their online presence. She continues by saying, especially for those very young children, how smart is this girl for her to take notice to all this stuff? Especially for very young children who may not understand what talking to a camera means and are not able to conceptualize what millions of people look like. They don't understand what they're putting into the internet for profit, and that is not going to be able to go away, and that their parents are making money off of it. Also, she says. On Friday, Sharia, oh, isn't she a gem? Look at her. She looks like a Sharia. I'll switch cameras there. There you go. There's Sharia. Holy cow. My eyebrows are bigger than my mustache. All right, go back to this. Sharia, her home state of Illinois, became the first state in the country to enact the law ensuring that children who are shown on social media are paid for their work. Illinois, I'm going to say Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the law legislating that creative private rights of action of children influences against their parents that feature them in videos and did not properly compensate them. The bill was proposed by Senator David Kohler of Peoria, who credits Sierra with bringing him the idea for the legislation. Sierra said she reached out to Kohler's office last year after realizing no states at the time had any legislation protecting kid influencers. When I went into it, I wasn't 100% sure know what I was doing. I didn't go into it expecting the bill to pass within a year, she said. I am very grateful for Senator Kohler and his team for paying attention to his constituents. So there you go. As of January 1st, 2024, add kids on social media to state that the child's labor law, a new law which goes into effect on January 1st, adds kids to the social media to the child's state labor law. It requires a child ages 16 and under to be compensated within 30-day period if they are at least 30% of the video online content for which an adult, whether a parent or caregiver, is being paid. The person making the video in which the child appears is responsible for setting aside a gross earnings in a trust account for the child, and they can receive it after the age of 18. You know what? I mean, it's the times they are changing type deal where, yes, I mean, these kids, what was the parents that were making their kids cry on camera that they were bad parents and stuff? Come on, cry for the camera, cry for the, and the kids would, I don't want to do this anymore. This is horrible. And the kids would, and then the numbers, that ticker on the numbers of the views would just sit there and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. And the parents were getting all the money. Kids weren't getting shit. They were still living, shackled to a bed at night. Parents are driving around in Lamborghinis and, fur coats and drinking cocktails. That's what they were doing, and leaving the kids at home. So now Illinois is the first state to say, hey, this is part of the child labor law. And I think that's a pretty smart thing to do. Child actors, I mean, there's something in there, but I don't know, child acting has been going on since the dawn of, movies and moving pictures and all that stuff. This is just a new media now, and rules need to be taken now, if not sooner, on the books to make sure that they're being protected and getting well represented. All right, guys, when we come back, you ever gone swimming in a public pool and you're just like going, wow, that really smells like chlorine. Thumbs up. We're going in this one because this one's really, really clean. Well, you might want to think about that, and I'll tell you why. Stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want something for free? Well, we will give you something for free, but you got to do something for me. You got to go over to Prophet Radio, proud sponsors of Deacon Live. At the top of the page says free swag. Fill that little form out there. It's not an email grab. It's not anything like that. It's just their way of saying, hey, look, we appreciate you listening to our plethora bed of podcasts. We'll send you out some magnets, some stickers, depending on which podcast that you would like, and you can see all the different podcasts that are located up there as well on prophetradio.com. And also, they live stream the top music that's being played today, so check them out as well. If you're tired of your old playlist on Spotify and you type in your song and it plays the same 20 songs over and over, check out Prophet Radio as well. Put that on your tablet, on your smartphone or whatever, and it live streams all this numerous song. I think they have a catalog of over 220 some odd songs, classic songs, fun songs, modern day songs, all that as well. And you can catch that over there at prophetradio.com. Now, my wife and I were outside and we were trying to wrap up getting this stupid horse pasture fence finished with the wood and stuff that we've recycled from the old fence. So we've got to a point where we're out there in the middle of this pasture, no trees, can't buy any shade. I'm sitting out there with one of those triangle sunshades or sun sails that's got string on the end, and we're tying it up to this and that, and just trying to stand under it and finish up this last little section of the fence. When we're all done, we're dripping with sweat, days of 92 years old, 92 degrees and such. We came up to the house, or we were out there, and I think we got delusional. And as we're walking up the house, we're like, we just need a pool. And I'm like going, well, in the wintertime, it'd be nice to have a hot tub too. Yeah. And we're, breaking everything down and walking back up to the house. And I think the sun just got to us. And yeah, if we had a hot tub, we could be warm in the winter and nice and just swimming in the summertime, and just something to dive in. And so we need to buy one of those hot tubs, that, the inflatable ones, and put them on the porch. And we got this whole brand new deck that we built, sun deck. We could put it on. Yeah, we could do that. So we got up to the house, and then, once we got inside, cooler heads prevailed. And we looked and we found one. It was, $600. And just fill it up with water and just be able to sit in it and just kind of move your feet around. And then in the wintertime, turn it on, and it gets, I think, 104 degrees, which is pretty warm. And we sat there and we were like before we hit buy, we said, do we really need this? No, let's just sit it in the cart, think about it, sleep on it for 24 hours. And the next day we're like going, nah, we'll be all right. So we almost pulled the trigger and bought one of those. But I know there's a lot of developments in apartment complexes where they have a public pool. That's nice. I hate swimming in pools, whether it be my own or just in general. It was not fun. The only time it was fun, one time, was there was a pool at our friend's house. The whole entire pool was 4.5 feet deep all the way across. It was a big Olympic-sized swimming pool. It was 4.5 feet all the way across, and it had one of those where it tapered out, where it was like it was really, really shallow, maybe a foot deep, and then it kind of just tapered out into. That was nice. That was nice to have. I didn't want this big, deep pool, and maybe that's a new trend going on. But right now, the trend that you think is good is when you go out to one of these. Stop. When you go out to one of these public pools and you smell the chlorine, you're like going, oh my God, it's awesome. It's clean. It's sterilized. Well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, sister. If you show up at a pool, public pool, even an indoor pool. Oh, we were at this one hotel. The indoor pool was just like, you couldn't even stand in there. Your eyes were burning so much. If you thought a healthy pool with chlorinated water doesn't have should not have a strong chemical smell at all. If you thought your post-swim red eyes was that chlorine because of how much chlorine was in the water due to the chemicals, well, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention has some nauseating news for you. The odor and those irritating eyes are instead due to chlorine mixing with pee, poop, sweat, dirt, skin cells, makeup, deodorant that swimmers are bringing into the pool. In fact, the unhealthy pool with chlorinated water shouldn't have any strong smell at all. When chlorine combines with, or when combined with pool chemicals, those substances that people carry into the pool with them can form chloramines, chemical irritants that cause skin irritations, nasal irritations, coughing, asthma attacks, and wheezing. Pool chemicals often kill most of the germs, but some are more persistent. Chlorine becomes less effective the more it is neutralized the contaminants. One of those persistent germs is Cryptosporidium. Cryptosporidium can survive more than 7 days in the pool water. This is partly because the Cryptosporidium is the leading cause of outbreaks linked to pools. All right. This causes diarrhea, and the symptoms can be specified specifically for people with weakened immune systems. So the CDC recommends the following steps to stay safe in a pool. Try to find any inspection records posted online before going out. Use test strips sold at the hardware. Make sure the pH levels between 7.2 and 7.8. Free chlorine concentrated should be at least 1 pp particles per milliliter in the pools. Blah blah blah. You can also drain to the bottom. You can see the drain at the bottom of the deep end is a sign that lifeguards will be able to see swimmers clearly, and also make sure drain covers aren't broken or insecure. So what they're saying is, if you go to a public pool and you smell a whole shit ton of chlorine in the air, because there's a whole shit ton of shit in that pool, I would say, no way, Jose, am I getting that in a pool? Oh, man, I would go somewhere else. I'd rather swim in a hot lake than swim in one of those pools. You might get MRSA. You ever seen that? I went swimming in a public pool and I had a cut on my leg, and now half my leg's gone and I can't run the triathlon. Now, something that this family smelt funny in their basement over in Plum, Hold on. Over in Plum, Pennsylvania, this family of 5 said that they were having problems with their hot water tank in their basement, and the hot water tank was gas powered. I don't know if it's natural gas or propane gas. I'm going to say natural gas. And unfortunately, the whole entire house blew up. Now, when I say blew up, okay, I guess they didn't have like CO2 sensors in the house, because we've got one here because we have a propane tank outside, which feeds the heating pack on our AC unit. So we can have heat during the wintertime, and also our stove is gas, and our hot water tank is gas, but it's a tankless water heater, and it's outside. So it's a small box about the size of what would you call it? It's probably about, let's say, 2 feet tall, about 1.5 feet wide. And it's got a vent on it, and it's outside. So everything's outside, but it's a tankless water heater. Now, these people probably had a regular water heater inside. I don't know if it was vented or not. The big barrel, the one that the Simpsons tried to shove down into the pool of ooze and all that. And this house completely exploded. Now, don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video, and you can see this in real time as we're talking about it here on the show. And I'm going to switch to camera 4, and you can see this whole entire news article about what happened. And you can see and hear the actual explosion of this house. Now, when I say explosion of a house, you're thinking, all right, the wall blew out or something like that. The house is gone. Gone. Completely gone. And the camera footage that we're going to show here is from houses that are probably like 2 blocks away or a block and a half away. I exaggerate sometimes, but you get the idea. The house is gone, and the houses surrounding it are almost completely gone as well. It looks like a nuclear bomb was dropped, or one of those smart missiles that the bunker breakers or whatever, bunker busters, shot in there over in Afghanistan. This is what this house looks like. All right, so I'm going to switch over to camera 4, which I've already done, and you can see this in real time as we're talking about it here. So here we go. Plum, Pennsylvania. And let's make sure we got this going on. Here we go. Let's start here.
Tonight, a western Pennsylvania neighborhood in pieces after a deadly house explosion rattled the area.
Jesus Christ!
The terrifying incident in Plum captured on a doorbell camera. You can see debris shooting across the whole block and the fireball that demolished several homes on Saturday morning.
We have a whole building completely gone. We have copious amounts of debris.
Copious.
Renko lives several doors down.
As a police officer, you hear an explosion and you run towards it.
Yes.
Renko helped carry his neighbor from the raging fire, who now, he says, is in critical condition.
We're fighting through the debris, the rubble, the fire, trying to get our neighbor out of there, but not a second thought was given.
Authorities concluded their recovery mission at the decimated lots today. 5 people were killed, including 1 child, and nearly 60 firefighters treated by EMS. As the cause of the explosion remains a mystery, gas has been shut off in this neighborhood as a precaution.
Now you can see the explosion. This is from a house that, like I said, is about a block and a half away. The windows and the decorations on the doors, the screen door, the storm doors opening up, and because of the concussion of the explosion. So here we go.
Point we can share that our system was operating as designed. It's still too soon to estimate when service will be restored.
Fire officials say the explosion leveled 3 homes and damaged at least another dozen in the Pittsburgh suburb. Such a force blowing out windows 4 homes away.
I was sitting right here. My wife.
Families like the Kolonkowskis now left to pick up the pieces and face the utter devastation that claimed the lives of 5 of their friends.
I was with 3 of them the night before, and then not even 12 hours later, we find ourselves in this situation.
Emily joins us tonight live from Plum, Pennsylvania. So, Emily, what's next for residents there?
Picking up the pieces.
Tom, residents here are still evaluating the extent of the damage, not just on this unrecognizable block, but debris was literally thrown across the neighborhood. Authorities say it could take months, if not years, to determine the cause of the deadly explosion. Tom?
So imagine, you've got a hot water tank, and let me switch back to camera 1. You got a hot water tank down there. You're having a problem with it. You put in a new hot water tank, and your basement's just filling up with gas. You've seen it in movies a million times. You're like going, it's a movie of special effect. That doesn't really happen. I guess in this scenario, the hot water tank maybe had a leak. I don't know if they had a sensor down there, a gas sensor, an O2 sensor or something like that. Maybe it wasn't working. And, the little kid went to turn on the hot water and ignited the pilot light, and sure enough, kablooey, blew everyone all sky high, literally sky high on that. So if you want to see that video for every podcast we do, make sure you go over to YouTube, search DeaconLive Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe over there. I don't do it all for the money. I don't do the YouTube video for any kind of money kickbacks or anything like that. It's just another avenue for you to watch the show and me here in the studio as I talk about these shows and some kind of space gray shirt I'm wearing today. I don't know what I chose, but you're looking at it. All right, and you can see that over there as well. All right, guys, when we stick around, when we come back, there is a brothel in the heart of New York City that will not be shut down and can't be shut down. We'll get into all the details on that when we come back. Stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want to be part of the show? Well, we'd love for you to be part of the show. And the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, proud sponsors of Deacon Live. At the bottom of the page says Be Heard. Click on that. I want to know what you're thinking. Want to hear from you. What do you got on your mind? You can ask us any questions that you like, or just speak your mind about anything going on here in the world in general, or about the show as well. And you can also give me a hard time over there, and we'll play it on the very next podcast as well. I promise. I always do. I got a couple that came in this past week. I'll get those loaded up here. Why weren't you on the air? What happened? What's happening, bitches? What's going on? Type deal. So make sure, let us know what you're thinking, what's on your, like I said, on your mind. Excuse me. And you do that by going to prophetradio.com. And while you're there, get yourself something for free. You can see all the different podcasts that I'm involved in. Make sure you like and subscribe and share them with all your friends. Do that for me, and I'll continue not to skip weeks. I promise. I promise I won't. Well, fingers crossed. I think we're going on vacation here in a couple of weeks. Anyways, I digress. Now, normally when we go on vacation, we used to go up to New York all the time to see my wife's uncle. Yeah, her dad's brother. And we go up there and we'd spend some time, and he lives in Long Island, New York. And I love going up there. They've got a beautiful house. They've got a great bakery over there. It's called Bankers. Shout out to Bankers. I don't know where they're at, but the house itself is in Ronkonkoma, something like that. Ronkonkoma, Center Reach. Let's do it that way. So all our New York friends over there are like, oh, I know where that's at. So we usually go up there, and then sometimes we'll go into the city. Now, something that we're also doing at home in retrospect of the whole New York topic is that we're watching all the episodes of Seinfeld. And it's funny to sit there and watch Seinfeld, and you know, us living here on this big, huge 20 some odd acre property, and we make our own food. When I say make our own food, you know, there's no shopping like Burger King, there's no McDonald's, there's no Jack in the Box, there's no Hardee's, there's no anything within driving distance, reasonable driving distance. You can go there, you just have to make a whole day trip out of it. So we make our own, you know, we buy our groceries once a week, come home, make our meals, meal plan and everything. It's just so funny that they would walk into a restaurant or a cafe or something and just order like a tuna sandwich and coffee. And, you know, the bill's $11. And, of course, that's New York prices back in 1995 or whatever. I'm watching Seinfeld. But it's still one of those things that you would do. Even when we go visit her uncle in New York and Long Island, they never really cooked. I mean, we never had a quote-unquote cooked meal while we were there. We either went out to eat every night, or it was delivery, or they brought something back, or went and picked something up and brought it back. It's a lifestyle, I guess, because people in New York don't know how to cook. I don't know. I mean, someone's got to be cooking. Someone's got to be in those kitchens and those restaurants. So I guess the chefs there are better than the people at home are cooking. Maybe their lifestyle is a little too busy than our lifestyle here. Now, this lifestyle is for those, well, how do I get into lifestyle and whorehouses? Well, let's just dive right into it, right? So this gentleman right here, shocking photos obtained reveal rare glimpses into the depraved inside of an alleged brothel along notorious Market of Sweethearts in Corona, Queens. Condom-covered beds separated by peach and white privacy curtains reminiscent of the old emergency room cubicles in dark corridors aglow in a seedy red light. Snaps and videos were shared by Roosevelt Avenue landlord Inchul Chang. Chang has been documenting the activity in his buildings for months after he tried to evict the alleged madam he says runs this operation, and who sued and got the judge's order to allow her to stay in the joint, the court documents showed. In one of the videos, he can even catch a glimpse of an alleged prostitute mid-coitus with a man in a small bedroom in a tiny room, dimly lit stall, interrupted them doing the deed. So if you want to see this video, let me switch cameras here. Here are the pictures. Here we go, camera 4. So this is this hallway, I guess he's talking about. And it's the old school emergency rooms where there's like curtains and like a single, not even a single bed, like hospital bed. Oh, there's a box at the end of every one of them. Hey, dispose here. Here's one of those Tupperware bins that's got drawers. It's got nothing but condoms, some paper towels. Here's a bed full of, I don't know if they did that for just the pictures. But let's dive into this article. And you can see this in real time as we're talking about it here. So here we go. Let's see what the New York Post has to say about this. So here's the video. I'm gonna blow this up. Uh-oh. Where'd he go? Oh, he's going inside. This is the video of him going inside. Oh. Hello. Hello. Something's going on. So that's all the video is. He walks in there and walks into the thing, and some girl's, rabbit style getting it. He blocked it out and stuff. So I guess they're having a hard time with these people in, hold on, let me switch back to camera one. A hard time with these people trying to evict them and stuff. Now, let me see what the article says. Give me 1 second. Got to go back. So here's all the videos of. So the story goes, he's complaining because he's like, I'm stuck with these people and I have the evidence in all the world and I can't evict them, Chang says. He has called the cops several times, but not yet probed into the actual business. I just don't know how to get rid of them. One way or other, they have to go. Otherwise, the whole building dies. Chang is not the only one complaining about the brazen prostitution operation in broad daylight in Corona, Queens. Residents, business owners, politicians told the Post last week that they were fed up with the sex workers taking over the neighborhood and soliciting men in front of passing children. After the expose, Mayor Adams took a late-night tour of the Roosevelt Avenue and promised action. So there you go. He can't get them out. Cops aren't doing anything. No one can do anything. Everyone's stuck in their beds, and they're stuck at where they're at. They signed a lease. Unless you physically do like a quote-unquote sting, you always hear about those things. All right, I got to have sex with you. And then you're not a cop. No. And then you have sex and you're like, all right, and you're busted. All right, I got him. Wait, I need more evidence. I got to do this at least 4 or 5 more times. All right, now I got you. No, I don't. I got to do it again. Well, something that's happening again is a large company is buying out a even larger company, if you want to do it in that aspect. After nearly a century of W.M. Davis and his sons open a grocery store in Miami, Florida, and 84 years after moving the headquarters to Jacksonville, Florida, Winn-Dixie is now being acquired by Aldi's. An announcement Wednesday morning, Aldi, which is today, by the way, this is breaking news. Aldi said that it would acquire Winn-Dixie and Harvey's Supermarket from Jacksonville-based Southern Grocers in a move to expand to Batavia, Illinois-based company presence in the Southeast. The deal includes nearly 400 Winn-Dixie stores and Harvey supermarkets across Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Bring them up here. We need them in North Carolina. Harris Teeter Publix sucks. I'm sorry. The Publix up here, my wife's, she's going to hit me in the head with this one. Publix up here sucks. It's not the same that it is in Florida. Yes, they do have the deli. Yes, they do have the pub subs. Yes, they do have everything like that. Publix here is garbage. I'm saying it's garbage. I hate going there. I say I hate going there. When my wife and I go there, it's always $300 and something for the same stuff I get at Walmart. Now, granted, Walmart sucks too. If you can get through all the trauma and the the rejects and stuff, but I spend half as much money. At the time, it was right to build and grow in our growth momentum and help residents in the Southeast save on their grocery bills. Jason Hart, CEO of Aldi's, has said the transaction supports a long-term growth strategy across the United States. And do you know Aldi's is a German company? And it supports the growth term of the long strategy of the United States, including plans to add at least 120 new stores nationwide. Keep it down. You know nothing. We ask the questions here. So this year, it reached a total of more than 22 or 2,400 stores by year's end. So there you go. News breaking right now here on the Deacon Live show. Aldi's has now purchased Winn-Dixie and Harvey's. I guess they're all in the same there. From the local people, I say local people, from the Jackson-based people in Florida. So there you go. Winn-Dixie and Harvey's is now going to be Aldi's. I don't know if they're going to change the name or whatever, but that's what's happening. All right, guys, when we come back, one more little segment, and we'll let you get back to doing what you got to do. Stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks, and the way you do that, let me switch screens here. Don't know what that was. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks, and the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, proud sponsors of Deacon Live. You can follow us over on YouTube. For every podcast we do, we have a matching video as well. You can see me waving to you. Hopefully, you guys are waving back to me. Hi. You can follow us on Instagram, also on TikTok as well. I've been posting a whole bunch of new videos up on TikTok, so make sure you like and subscribe. Believe me, no money's involved, just another avenue for you guys to sit there, like, and enjoy, and be part of the Deacon Live family, the community, which is Deacon Live. Now, this has never happened to me. You always hear stories about the pay it forward. Usually it happens at, like, Starbucks. Oh, is the lady behind me? Is she getting a drink too? She looks like she's got kids in the back. I'll go ahead and pay for her coffee. And then the woman comes up. Oh, no, the lady in front of you paid for the coffee. So you feel obligated to do the whole, quote unquote, pay it forward. Now, unfortunately, in this scenario, the pay it forward led to the lady jumping out of her car when she got stuck with a $60 bill at Taco Bell, running at the car behind her and yelling, "Scam, scam, this is a scam." How's it a scam? I don't understand. A woman on TikTok has shared her personal story about how the pay it forward chain at Taco Bell reportedly led to a heated moment at a drive-thru line. Meredith Donovan, a content creator, has turned a video sharing app, TikTok. They can't say video sharing app. On Wednesday, August 9th, this past Wednesday, claiming that her $60 Taco Bell order infuriated a customer in front of her enough to cause a scene at the drive-thru. The car in front of me pulls up to the pay window. I'm on my phone, is what she's saying. I can hear the car door slam. I look up and the lady gets out of her car and has gotten up to her window in front of me and starts yelling and screaming. And I couldn't make out what she was saying, so I rolled the window down and locked the doors just in case, because I was scared. She's a little skinny little blonde-headed girl. I heard the word scam over and over and over. It turned out that the woman was upset because a pay-it-forward chain had been started at Taco Bell drive-thru, but by a prior customer. So basically, the car in front of her paid for the meal and so on and so forth. And when it got to my order was $60. At that point, the woman shouldn't have had to gotten out of the car. She would have said, no, I'll take the meal that I ordered. Granted, the car in front of me paid for it. Let the bitch behind me, let that dumb bitch behind me who ordered $60 worth of tacos pay for her own shit. And the person, Meredith Donovan would have never known. Walt drove up and said, "Oh yeah, your order's $60," and she would have gone on and done her whole thing. But no, they got to make a whole fucking story about it. So if you want to see this video, this is her reaction, Meredith Donovan, talking about the woman that came up and started yelling at her about her $60 Taco Bell order. So here we go. If you want to see this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to us over on YouTube, and you can see this in real time as we're talking about it here. So here we go. Here's Meredith with her piercings in her cheek. Oh, isn't she cute? There she goes.
So I just got screamed at the Taco Bell drive-thru. Basically, I pulled up and placed my order, which was like $60 worth of Taco Bell, which is a lot of food. Don't get me wrong. It's not all for me. So I placed my order and the car in front of me pulls up to the pay window. I'm on my phone and I just hear hear a car door slam, and I look up, and this lady has gotten out of her car in front of me and is running towards my car, screaming her head off. And I couldn't make out what she was saying at first. So I rolled up my windows and I locked the door because I was scared. But I could hear what she was saying eventually, and I heard scam. She stopped screaming. The story is actually kind of funny. Basically, the car before her paid for her meal. So she was going to be a good person and pay for the car behind her.
No.
You know, a pay it forward scam. But I guess the car didn't get behind her in time. And it actually was my expensive order for all my food. But we had a little laugh and she apologized. But I did almost shit my pants.
You're going to shit your pants later when you eat all that Taco Bell stuff. So what she's saying is, you know, the pay it forward scam, if you're not familiar with it, all right, so let's say I buy a cup of coffee. I know. People out there, we know what it is. Yeah, some of you morons don't. I got a cup of coffee. I look in my mirror and there's a woman behind me or a man behind me, doesn't matter. I go, well, how much is their order? Oh, it's $16. I'll buy that. Go ahead, throw that on there too. So that person comes up and gets her order. No, the guy in front of you paid for it. Oh, isn't that nice? Well, I'll pay for the person behind me. How much is their order? $8. All right, and that continues and continues. Taco Bell, how much is the average order? $20, $15, you know, and she probably looked and saw this little skinny blonde-headed girl in the car behind her and said, well, I'll pay for her order. And the cashier goes, well, her order is $60. What? You don't have to pay for it, dear, darling, whoever. You don't have to pay for it. Just say, fuck her. Let her pay her own shit. Like I said, let me get my shit and I'm out. I'm gone. I'm out the door. So, I mean, come on. It's not a story. It's just, you know, this person was an influencer and she's over 18. So don't worry. She's getting paid. She don't have to worry about her parents giving her any money for her TikTok videos. Now, someone who needs some money right now is the Westland Fire and Rescue. As of this past Friday, they said that they had a blues, brews, and barbecue event this past Friday. And which is a great thing. You know, you get out there and see all the different fire trucks. They have, you know, raise money for the community, blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, a 4-year-old girl in Michigan was struck and run over by a golf cart after the dog of the local fire department decided to lay down on the vehicle's gas pedals. Now, we have a huge fat bulldog, and she likes to go, quote unquote, bye-byes. And she's done this before. We have our side-by-side that I told you that my dad likes to, you know, fall out of and stuff. And if I get out of the side-by-side, she will come over to the driver's side and lay down. Now, if she lays down just right, and granted, I make sure that thing's in park, she'll lay on the gas pedal, and that thing will just go. But if I don't put it in park, and she was to lay down on that gas pedal, guess what? Cookie, come back. Cookie, where are you going? There's another story, long story, about another dog that we had that took the car and put it in neutral, and it started rolling away. Because I left them in the car. But that's another story for another topic, for another show. The golf cart lunged forward and the firefighters. So after Bella laid down on the golf cart, which they use for occasionally for, you know, plopping down on the floor. Okay, got it. So on Facebook, the Westland Fire and Rescue said, their arson dog, Bella, while they were at the Blues, Brews, and Barbecue event, Bella was in the golf cart and usually is used to the occasion and plopped down on the floor, just like I said. Where she landed on the pedal, the cart lunged forward, and the firefighters tried to steer it away from people before it could stop. It struck a girl running over her legs. The child was assessed by the firefighters and paramedics. What a place to get hurt, right? And while she was shaken, she didn't have any obvious injuries. Her mother declined further treatment. You know why? She's going somewhere. She's getting an attorney. Fortunately, the child was back and eating popcorn within minutes of the incident. Within 10 minutes of the incident, was back jumping. I hate some of these articles. I wish they would fire the people that they write the articles because I forget words. So I'm going to read this. It says, fortunately, the child was back to eating her popcorn within minutes of the incident, and within 10 minutes of the incident was back jumping in the fire department's bounce house. Okay, who wrote that? That line is horrible. She's eating popcorn and jumping back in the bounce house. The American Academy of Pediatrics says the increase of popularity of golf carts has led to more injuries. There are more than 60,000 golf carts related injuries between 2010 and 2019. Citing, slightly more than half of these injuries happen when children between the ages of 0 and 12 aren't cared for or paid attention to, and they get hit. So that's what the data shows. So be careful out there. I know kids are all going back to school. Summertime, and hopefully there's no injuries this year, no massive influx of, you know what I'm talking about, school shootings and stuff like that. And everyone has a nice and peaceful and productive school year. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to let you get back to doing what you got to do. Don't forget, for every podcast we do, we have a matching video. Make sure you like and subscribe to us over on YouTube. It's not a money grab or anything. If you want something for free, go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Get yourself something for free, and you can be part of the show. Let me hear what's on your mind. You can do that as well. Opens up a microphone. You can be anonymous if you want. Go to ProphetRadio.com. All right, guys, on that note, my name is the Deacon, saying goodnight and goodnight.
Wait, come back. This is the end, the absolute end.
Écoute-moi.